Here are some tips and tricks for reading bass clef in your summer assignment. I'm going to go to exercises and note identification, and I'm going to go right on over to settings and choose bass clef. Here we go, and turn off treble clef. Now, if you're good at treble clef, bass clef is going to be a breeze. That is middle C. That's the lowest note, first ledger line on the treble clef staff, and the first ledger line on the bass clef staff. So just like before with treble clef staff, I can answer by typing the letter C. Now we're going to get pretty low on the staff. This is C sharp. So here's the way I'm going to think about this. If this was treble clef, the note on this line right here is C. But in bass clef, it's down a third. So the note that you're actually seeing here in bass clef is C sharp. So in treble clef, this note would be C. In bass clef, this is E sharp. It's down a third. So I'm going to take the note that would be on this line and I'm going to move it down. That's going to make this E sharp. Here's another example. If this was treble clef, that would be B flat. But in bass clef, it's going to be D flat. So you can just pretend that this is a B flat in treble clef and then just mentally move it up a line. This is on a line, this note here, and in treble clef this would be B flat. But I'm going to mentally move it up to here in treble clef. That makes it a D flat. One more time, in treble clef, this would be a G flat, right? We're going where we know. I know that that's G flat in treble clef. So in bass clef, I just have to move it up a line. So this becomes B flat in bass clef. Now you may think that this is kind of cheating and that I'm not actually learning how to read bass clef, but I don't buy it, not for a minute. When you learn a foreign language, you translate stuff from the language that you're learning back into English. But eventually, when you get really good at the language, you start to think in that language. This is how I learned bass clef. I learned that in treble clef, that note is F sharp. But if I move it up the next space, up a third, I get A sharp. Eventually, this became automatic to me, and I start to think in bass clef. So the trick is read it in treble clef at first. For example, that would be D flat, and then move it up a third. So that's going to be F flat. When you're ready for your challenge, go on over to challenge mode, turn it on for 1 minute, and then give yourself 1 minute to answer 15 of these correctly. Good luck.